Let's get it. The podcast that you need. That's facts. Push it. Push it.
Awesome, man. I have Nick Perry here on the podcast today, episode number 59. I'm super stoked, man, to have you on the podcast, mainly because your coaching for me has been super pivotal in the growth of my business and my success on my journey. So the goal today on today's podcast is to go over your successes, what you've learned, how you can help other entrepreneurs on their path, and then kind of dive into, some of the programs that you have to help others in their success. So thanks for being on the podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's such a honor and blessing to be on your podcast and just see the growth that you've had in such a short amount of time. You're one of those entrepreneurs that takes action, has balls, and can get up whenever he gets knocked down. So that's why you're at where you're at, and I'm happy to be a part of that journey, man. It's a huge blessing to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Nick. Thanks, man. Well, let's dive straight into it, man, because we have a lot to cover, short amount of time. Go ahead and give us kind of a quick overview of how you got into business. What was that journey? What were some of the big catalyst moments that kind of sparked your path in business?
Yeah, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur my entire life. In school, I was always getting in trouble. Basically got myself kicked out of school by 10th grade, and I was pretty money hungry growing up, just because I lived with my dad. My parents were divorced. My dad struggled a lot financially. He was a landscaper, so we lived in the worst part of town, and we had one bedroom apartment, living on the couch. He could barely make rent, so a lot of times we were struggling for groceries and just basic necessities. And I went to school in like a nice suburb where all my peers at school were pulling up in new cars that their parents bought them, and they're going on vacations, and that was not in the cards for me. So I used to be like, what, when I grow up, I'm gonna make something of myself. I'm not gonna let this be part of my story. I used to piss me off, honestly, about poverty and being like not having enough. And so that left a mark on me that I was like, when I grow up, this is not going to be my reality. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I just knew that I was going to do something. So I tried everything, right? I was working, commission sales jobs at cell phone stores. I was selling weed, I was getting in trouble and trying to find, I was hustling stuff on Craigslist and eBay.
Yeah.
And, none of it really got me ahead, but I learned a lot of lessons along the way. My first career, I was a personal trainer. So as a personal trainer, I got experience with a lot of wealthy clients.
Right.
And that was like really where I realized, in order to make it in this world, you need to be a business owner, right? If you're a W-2 employee, you're going to be capped out. All the, guys that I was training that were wealthy, that had the big houses, pulling up in the Rolls Royces, and were taking trips to the Maldives, all the time. They were all business owners, and most of them owned either tech companies or real estate companies. And I was like, well, I'm not smart enough to do tech. I'm not very technologically savvy. So that was kind of what spurred that in the back of my mind. But I didn't do anything with it for a long time. I got some other experience, in the work field. I did outside sales. I ran around the country and opened up frozen yogurt shops all over the United States. And that was another big impactful moment for me when I was traveling around the United States. Opening up and selling frozen yogurt shops, I'm dealing with wealthy business owners, guys that own, 50 Domino's pizzas, or they own, 27 KFCs, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm just constantly surrounded by all these entrepreneurs. And just through that association, I picked up a lot of, valuable lessons from guys that were a lot older, a lot more successful than me. And when that job died off, I moved down to Austin, Texas, with nothing to my name. I was broke, like $5,000. I put $1,000 down on an apartment, spent another $1,000 moving down there. And I was running through money fast, trying to figure out what the next chapter of my life was going to be. And so I was on YouTube and I started researching different business ventures, and real estate wholesaling popped up, and that was something that made sense to me. It was a simple concept, and it was a way that I could get in without a lot of startup costs.
Right.
And so I went really deep on that, and then that was just kind of the very beginning of the journey. So I could take it a million different ways, but I'm not going to get long-winded. That was the start.
That's awesome, man. I mean, so there's a lot of nuggets there. I think one of the key things, I actually just wrote it down, was you said association. So it was like obviously you come from humble beginnings. Myself included, like we didn't go to Harvard, you know what I mean? So like, we don't, oftentimes when you go to schools like that, you have networks and people that you can collaborate with. But you sought out and you kind of created your own, by networking and getting involved with people that had success. But also having that association, it probably kind of like leaks over into your own mindset, or kind of gives you a bigger picture, kind of broadens your horizons, so to speak. And do you feel like that was pivotal? Like, did that kind of help your vision? Like,
definitely. I was rough around the edges, man. I grew up and, like I said, I was always in trouble, house arrest, constantly running from the police. So I was a pretty, rough kid growing up. And, when you're around all these wealthy people, you better act right. Right. They're not gonna mess with you. They're not gonna keep you on as their trainer, or they're not gonna tolerate you to help them in anything. So
right.
I had to, talk to wealthy people, and I learned what their mindset was like, and that mindset, it made a big impact on me. It's a simple saying: if you're some of the 5 people you surround yourself, you
right.
hang around 5 smokers, you're going to smoke. If you hang around 5 millionaires, you're going to be a millionaire. Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was conditioning for my mind. That conditioned my mind to get me in the right frame of mind to be a successful business owner.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I think that's a key nugget for a lot of people, is like, just if you're in a place where you're not able to, maybe tap into resources that you grew up with, reach out and, start getting yourself around people that are successful, because it naturally kind of, helps lift you up. And same thing for me too. It's like, there's just certain people, it's like when you're around them, you're just better, you're just better. And it's like, the more you can put yourself in those positions, I feel like the better you perform in business, and just the way, the way you think as well.
Part of the people that you're around, and like also the atmosphere that you're around as well, right? If you get around the bad side of town all the time, or you live in like a, not the best area, go visit the wealthy areas of town, drive the nice neighborhoods, go to the high-end hotels and go have some coffee and bring your laptop and work.
Right.
That's going to consciously condition you and put you in a better frame of mind. Your mind's a powerful thing. You got to program it right. So I do that all. I would drive to the nice part of town, go to work in the nice hotels, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So that's definitely good advice for a lot of people, especially starting off. And you start your real estate company. Obviously, it's very successful now, but you started off, I'm assuming, just by yourself, right? So you started off a solopreneur. What you have a wholesaling company, but what made you want to build a company? Because a lot of people, they just do some deals, or they stay solo. But what kind of helped spark you building an actual company where you guys are doing things on a bigger scale?
I'm just naturally competitive. When I get into anything, I want to be the best at it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got into real estate wholesaling, I look at, like my mentor, Sean Terry, Carlos Reyes, guys like that. When I came in, I saw the success they were having. And so I was like, if they can do it, then so can I. If they laid that groundwork, I was like, I can learn from them, and I can get there or better. Right. So it's my goal to always be the best I possibly can. So even from the beginning, I remember I didn't have it easy. Like, it took me 104 face-to-face seller appointments, driving all over Texas in a beat-up Mazda 3 with no air conditioning before I got my first deal. So over the course of 11 months, I had 104 appointments.
Damn.
One of them took a toll on me. You know, it's not. I just didn't know enough. I wasn't educated enough. I'm just out there, you know, going on stupid appointments that I shouldn't have gone on, doing, not knowing how to calculate, not even knowing what a deal was. Right. Wasn't properly educated. I just kind of crash course myself on YouTube and went out there and started doing stuff. But if I would have had proper education, I would have had a much faster start, but I didn't. So that took a toll on me, you know, probably by like appointment number 75, striking out, coming home in the Texas heat. I just had surgery too. So I had a big, you know, a hole in my back, and I was just like worn out. Fuck, man. I don't know, you know, cut out for this. So I started getting all these limiting beliefs of doubt. And I remember I just said to myself, you know what? I didn't come this far to only come this far. I watched all the videos. I've been on all these appointments now. So I either got two options. I can quit, or I can burn the option of that, and it's going to I'm either going to be successful or I'm going to die.
Yep.
And I said, no, I didn't come this far to only come this far. I will go and do whatever it takes, and I will either make this successful or I will die trying. And then I've never thought about quitting ever since.
That's fucking strong. Yeah, that's fucking strong. And I think it's like, you know, you went through that path where it was hard, but it's sort of like it's like a grooming mechanism. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes life throws you in the gauntlet because it knows, like, you know, God knows like what's ahead of you, right? It's like, okay, well, Nick's gonna do these things, but fuck, I gotta get him, you know, through this little obstacle course, you know.
Yeah, it proves what you're made of, right? And
yeah,
by 99% of small businesses fail because it's the hardest thing to do is start a company, you know, and be able to take the shots, and it's not for the faint of heart. So
no, it's not.
If you're in the business, know that 99% of small business owners are going to fail in the first 3 years. So you better be mentally strong enough to be the 1% that when big obstacles come up, you get knocked down, you're going to figure out a solution, and there's no other option.
Yeah, no, that's pivotal, man. I think a lot of times people underestimate how hard it is to create a business, especially a business that has success, that's long sustaining. And you know, I feel like, because now I'm at a place where, you know, I just hired, you know, people, you know, the past 3 or 4 months, and we're doing our best to really build out the model that you guys have in Austin, where it's like, you know, we have a strong dispo team, strong acquisition teams. Obviously, we're doing PPC, which we learned from you and your mastermind group. And it's like, it was to me, it's harder doing that, because when you're a solo guy, it's like you can kind of do everything on your own, and you can kind of like maneuver, and you don't have to worry too much about other people and their paychecks and then different obstacles in business. And I think that's, whenever you grow a business and you're building a team, I think that's really where your leadership skills need to be developed. And I think you know, you going through your challenges, it was like, I think it was like a grooming, because not a lot of people can do that. You know, like you said, 99% of businesses fail, but man, like when you actually have people that are counting on you to put them in a position of success, that's a lot of pressure. I feel like a lot of people can't handle.
Right. And after you go through the, you know, trials and tribulations, you're much more equipped to lead, right? You know, you don't have a skilled sailor in smooth water, right? It takes going through the shit and the crazy storms side to say, hey, yeah, I'm a strong captain of the ship. Yeah,
absolutely, man. No, that's huge. What would you say is the biggest pitfall? Obviously, we recognize that the success rate of businesses are low, but what would you say is the biggest pitfall for entrepreneurs that are maybe starting off in business, or they're new in their company?
Shiny object syndrome is a huge one. You know, everybody's like, oh, I'm going to get into real estate. And then they start doing research and they're like, oh, I'm going to do wholesale. And then I'm going to do Airbnb. And then I'm going to rentals. And then, oh, you know what? Creative finance works too. And like, they just start going into all these different sectors of real estate. And then they go completely left field. And like, I'm going to also do e-com on top of that. You're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
So, lack of focus and lack of discipline is a huge reason why I see a lot of entrepreneurs go out of business. I didn't do anything besides wholesale real estate for the first 6 years of my company.
Wow.
And so I had on, and I refused to go take on any other verticals of real estate, or I didn't, I started a bunch of other companies in the last couple of years. Some worked and some didn't. And if I were to try to do that early, it would have taken my focus away and probably bankrupted my company.
Wow. Yeah. So I think that is a big challenge. I think we have so much information now, as far as, well, we have a lot of surface information,
There's no lack of opportunity. There's a lack of focus now in 2022 with, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You see a new brilliant idea every single day.
Yeah, it's so true. But the execution, that's where the magic happens, is the execution in the long-term focus, So the
first rabbits gets no rabbits.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I think, so, I guess what would your recommendation for new business owners would be to master your craft? Is that pretty much correct? Master your craft and then scale out?
Stay laser focused and put in your 10,000 hours. That's really what it takes for mastery, right? When you pick a lane, you're going to go and stay in that lane for at least 3 years. And we're talking about 10,000 hours, right?
Right.
If you can't pick a lane and say, I'm going to make this work and I'm going to dedicate the next 3 years to it, don't even get into it.
Yeah.
Don't even, that's my recommendation. Don't even think about taking on any other business for the next 3 years. This is your 100% sole focus.
Yeah.
And then another big pitfall that I see is you've got a lot of people that hire the wrong staff. We're all victims of that. I've been through that shit. I can tell you horror stories in my early days. Some of the things happened to me, but yeah, that's another big thing is, it's just like starting a sports team, right? If your staff are your players,
right?
You coaching, so you want to make sure you pick the best players on your team.
That's so true, man. And I have, not to the extent of your experience and with your hires, but I've kind of gotten a taste of that myself, like the past like 12 to 14 months, where it's like, okay, I want to build a team. You want to bring on the right people, and dude, it was just, they what they call it, like in dating, we have the wrong picker. I had the wrong picker when it came to hiring, dude. Like I would, and I finally had to like look myself in the mirror, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like, like you hire, like, it's like I could have 10 people and I picked the worst guy,
Right.
And man, it's just, and if you make so many mistakes, and finally it's like I think I feel like I finally sort of made some progress. We're hiring some good people, but man, it's a really challenging thing, and people are like one of the most important resources, I feel like, in a company.
If you have good people, the rest of your business can be screwed up and you'll still probably do okay.
Right. Yeah. That's so true. That's so true, man. So let's dive in. I want to dive in a little bit with what you're doing. So I feel like I was one of your first or early members in the 7-figure cartel group. And whenever I got into that mastermind, we were just in Houston. We were doing, it was like me and like one other dude. I was doing, 3 to 5 deals a month, and we were just, banging out cold calling, and and it was it was a hard road to go down. And then when we got into your mastermind, we did a lot of PPC coaching, a lot of marketing coaching. We implemented that. Had some challenges, but it's the bread and butter now of our lead flow, and we're able to go nationwide. Still working out kinks. I feel like it's a never-ending process, but we were able to grow our business. But let's kind of dive into how you're helping other entrepreneurs and kind of scale their business and going from maybe a solo guy to actually building something big.
Yeah, I feel like out there right now, there's a ton of education on how to get your first deal, like how to get into this business. But what about the guys that are already there? They're making money, but they're stuck. Because I was in that position for a long time. 3 to 5 deals. I got money coming in, pretty much all of it's going back out.
Yeah.
I call that wholesaling purgatory. You're just kind of
so true.
And 2 or 3 years to break out of that. And I said to myself, I was like, man, if I would have just known these few little things, I could have saved myself all of that pain.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people, start seeing my success, after I broke out of that 3 to 5 deals. Now we do, 30, 40 deals a month.
Mm-hmm.
And were asking me questions. I was jumping on consulting calls, which is very time consuming, and saying the same thing over and over. And so I said, you know what, I'm just going to hammer down and put everything that I know into an actual course and videos, and make it digestible for everybody so they can go through it. And then also do group coaching on top of that. So that's what we did. I gave basically all the game, all the sauce, everything, and put it into an actual course that we call a 7-figure cartel. And then on top of that, we jump on Zoom every couple of weeks with the business owners and consult them with the actual process, right? We want to make sure that they're implementing. I didn't want to be I never wanted to be a coach or anything like that. I didn't want to be a guru. I wanted to. And so when I said, okay, we'll do this, I said, well, we need to make sure that everybody that comes through here is successful. So I take that very seriously. When people sign up, that, they actually get results because my name's on it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what I loved about working with you and you guys. It's like, it was all action. It was all action oriented. You know what I mean? It wasn't just a bunch of fluff or like, you said, shiny object stuff. It was literally tangible action that you can start implementing right away. And the PPC coaching was a game changer, an absolute game changer. And, to go from banging out cold calling, which, dude, that sucks. You know what I mean? And you still, we still have cold calling, but man, when you got leads coming to you, it's so much sweeter, it's so much easier. And now what's crazy is now my guys are spoiled and they get upset about these leads. I'm like,
yeah, if I gave my guys cold calling leads, they'd probably all quit.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, man. It's hilarious, but it's the evolution. So yeah, man. So I really highly recommend if people are listening to this to reach out to Nick in a 7-figure cartel, especially if you're stuck at that 2 to 3 or 4 deals, because that's where I was. And like you said, I would have months where it's like, if I was having a conversation, I only wanted to talk about top line. I'd be like, yeah, man, I did 60 grand this month, but I didn't want to talk about.
You had 75 going out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're in the negative. Yeah, you're in the negative. So it's like, it was an eye opener, and it was a very big growth moment. And it's like fuck, okay. I want to actually make money and keep some of this and be able to grow something big, and so I think I know that your mastermind is super helpful with that. What about because I know you're doing some other things too with 8-figure cartel. Is that something that you guys are? I know it's new, but is that something you guys are still going to expand upon? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's an actual. I have a place also in Panama City, Panama. I've got an 11,000 square foot penthouse on the 54th story, right on. And this is like a weekend retreat where we bring small business owners that are, high level. We want guys that ideally they've already gone through the 7-figure cartel and they've mastered it, guys like yourself, or they can come from outside, but we're very selective with the group we bring down because it's limited. Even though we got 11,000 square feet, it's a small, intimate group, and we spend an entire weekend together breaking down your entire business with the goal of taking you from, high 6 figures, 7 figures to getting you to that 8-figure mark. Because what got you to 7 figures is not going to get you to 8 figures. So that's the entire premise of 8-figure cartel, is to, make sure that your core business is dialed in and that you're able to, bring yourself to where you're working above the business, and then use your additional time and resources and money and put it into the right verticals. You don't go out and buy a bunch of, Amazon stores with your, So we're showing you what we're doing that's working, that's generating money. We're pouring into you as the business owner, and then, we have time just to spend together through that weekend. So, a lot of times when you get away from your business and you spend some time, you decompress, you end up solving problems, especially when you're in that environment with other high level people.
That's so true. Yeah.
We have a great time too. We've got chefs the entire time, a staff that, takes care of everything that you could, think of. And we do a yacht day where, bring all the business owners out, bring a bunch of, beer and cook food on the yacht. So it's a good time. It's awesome. A weekend retreat. A lot of value is created at the last one. We've got guys that are started businesses together. They're, we're able to go back and completely revolutionize what they're doing. So it's super impactful. And, we'll probably do a couple. I don't know if we're going to keep it going long term. We just did one in November of 22 this year. So last month we did one. We'll probably do 1 or 2 more, and then we'll see how it goes. The next one might be in a different country because I'm probably gonna be in Panama for a year, and then we'll see where we're at.
That's awesome, man. And that's I'm definitely interested in that, because I think that is what you just said about solving problems when you're outside of your work environment. Dude, that's so true. Because when you're in, like, I'm in the office right now, I love being here, but it's like you're in the shit, you know what I mean? And problems come, and it's like you're in the trenches, right? And then sometimes when you can scale back and get away from that, and then you get around other guys that are high level, it's like the creativity just kicks on, and you're able to have those aha moments that says, oh shit, it's not that difficult. All I got to do is do this or do that, and then that might make you an extra $1 million. You know what I mean? So what does the future hold for Nick Perry? I mean, you have your real estate company in Austin. It's still up and going. I know Brandon runs it. Those guys continue to have success. You have the 7-figure cartel. I know you do some investing in oil and gas as well. What's the vision, man? Like, you got so much life ahead of you. I mean, we both have so much, so much to grow into. What does the vision look like for you?
Yeah, financially, I'm in a pretty good position where I tried to retire, but to retire is to expire.
Yeah.
So I tried.
Yeah.
I tried to retire full year, and I started crazy.
Yeah.
So, as an entrepreneur, you always want to be creating, and you always want to be, giving the best version of yourself to the world, and doing amazing things. So now I'm heavy invested in oil and gas. My oil and gas assets continue to expand. I'm continuing to pick up working interest on wells in and around Texas. I own a drilling company as well. So I
Nice.
have multiple rigs and a big equity stake in a drilling company. My real estate company is gone. I can't believe what it's done since I've been gone. I was just in Austin last week, and just to see the progress that the team's making, and just the amazing people I have working for me, and how it's evolved, just is super humbling, considering I started in a 1-bedroom apartment with nothing.
Yeah.
it's continuing to grow. We're moving into a new office in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Or where I'm at right now is I'm 100% focused on buying existing businesses that are already cash flowing, strong financials, good recession-proof businesses. That's the quickest way to fast forward yourself 10 years down the road.
Wow.
Right? That if you try to start a company, we all know now how hard it is to start. You can either start it or you can buy it. So buying a company is a much better way. And it's same as real estate, wholesaling houses, except you're dealing with a business. It's just a different asset class. But same, you purchase it, you can value add it, and then sell it for a multiple. And when on the exit of those companies, you're making millions and millions of dollars. So I'm talking a lot bigger projects now, and I'm really excited. So I've gone through a bunch of education. I'm still at the early stages. I've got qualified for an SBA 7A. I'm liquid in my accounts, and I'm actively shopping for opportunities. So I feel like I'm back when I was trying to get my first deal in wholesaling. That's
badass, man. I think that's what's cool about that is people that are listening to this is like you refine and you build your skill set, and then you can take that same skill set, and as you grow in your career, in your life, you can use those same skills for bigger deals, bigger opportunities. So you're basically flipping. Obviously you have other ventures, but like with the businesses, you're like flipping businesses. Instead of flipping houses.
Yep, and it's a much faster way because your average assignment fee, 10, 15, 20K.
Yeah.
Your average size, in the companies that I'm looking for, you're exiting at 2, 3, 4, 5 million, within a year or two, and you've got a healthy cash flow paying you every single month along the way.
Yeah, that's badass, man. So it shows you, like, if people are listening to this, is you've been on this grind, I know, for a long time, but like, you accomplished a lot in 10 years, and I think if people would just kind of have that mindset of like, I need to give myself 10 years, like you said, stay laser focused, stay on the path, don't get shiny object syndrome, and have the right sequence as far as like, okay, when you want to go do different things. I think that's huge for a lot of people, because you've proven that you can, someone can actually make that happen in a short amount of time. So I think it's inspiring, man. It's inspiring for a lot of people. I know a lot of people look up to you, and you're helping a lot of people in their businesses. So I appreciate that. But yeah, man, so it was awesome having you on, Nick. I really, really appreciate your time, man. I'm excited to see your growth and more, and it's inspiring for me and a lot of other guys as well. And hopefully, man, we'll be able to catch up soon and maybe do some deals or something together.
Yeah, I'll see you down in Panama.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. That sounds good. Thanks, Nick. All right, brother.
Man.
Bye.